Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Crash Command Games. Another day, another armory went by. Armory, I mean, everybody's traveling for Easter or something. Not a lot of people showed up. But we had a few good games, right? I brought Max Nitro out again, even though I had just gone 0-2 by with him. The previous armory. This time I played against Hatchet Story. Hatchet Story and Prism, Awakener of Soul. Now, very interesting to note that I do believe, and in the brief talking that we did, I do believe Hatchet Story could be close to the best deck in the meta right now, right? Look at this thing pringled like crazy. Can't even read that. That's so dark. Why is it so dark today? How about that? A little more light. A little more light back there. And we have this knucklehead. I technically won. Only 2 wins, but I technically won. Got another box. Used some credit and all that. Me and my gamer fuel brought me to victory. That's what it really was. It gave me performance. Yeah. They're not paying me. Fuck. Not gonna say that because, you know, you never know what the future holds. But decided to pick up another box because I do think Dusk Till Dawn is one of the sleeper sets right now. So, what did I discuss at the Armory today? What did we talk about? We talked about how Hatchet Story could possibly very well be the best deck in the meta right now. Reason for that being it's just so consistent. It's just turn after turn, 3 hatchets is just so hard to break a pattern on. And I started my defense on one of the turns, and I started thinking to myself, being a Dory player, right? She was my first hero and my oldest deck, right? Presenting a hatchet for 2. And normally, in my brain, in my old school brain of Flesh and Blood, I go, oh, you never block this. But with Dory, if you don't block it, she gets to attack with that axe again. And even if all my opponent did, if all she did was Blade Runner, that's it represents 6 value on the next attack. So that's 8 total for the turn. On 2 resources, 2 for 8. With the possibility of opening up a 3rd attack with either another Blade Runner or a hit and run, for example. Like, it is insane the value that deck starts to proposition in close to no amount of time with no resources. The deck can still be running Nourishing Emptiness to be getting those 5-card hands. You only need a few attacks, and then if you try to fatigue the deck, they really can just sit there and attack with hatchets and pass turn over and over again, because Warrior has above rate defense compared to most other classes. So I'm not the biggest fan of a few cards that I saw in that deck. I really don't like Blade Fury that much. Blade Flurry. But I guess in hatchets it's okay because it represents a possible 4 damage, you know, for 0. It can be very strong. I'm not going to say that it's bad. I'm just saying I didn't really like it because there were a few turns where all I did was block with Blade Flurry in mind, and I can't confirm one way or the other, but it feels like I stifled a few turns and bought myself some time. Now, how that game started to play out was turn 4 or 5, I got a 4th hyperdriver out. I got very lucky with my banishes and was able to keep a few of the hyperdrivers around, and I would be ending my turns without cranking a hyperdriver using Max Nitro's ability, right? Getting a lot of tokens. So, that aside, I did end up swinging Banksy, using the steam counter off of my boots to turn over another resource with the Tekla Foundry Heart, and then turn into the Mechanoid with 4 hyperdrivers under it and all my equipment and a galvanic bender. Next few turns, I was a little defensive, but I didn't use the Nitromechanoid to block right off the bat. You have to be very, very savvy with how and when you choose to block with that card, because you're only going to get to do so often. You want to make sure it shuts down a warrior's turn, right? And that became increasingly difficult against this Dorinthia, right? I'm not saying Max Nitro is an amazing deck and you need to be on the lookout. I'm saying that even if you have a fridge, Dorinthia can get around it. That spinning combo, she just locks you up, not really stun locks you, but kind of armor locks you, right? That could be a term we could use for how that deck works. The game kind of dragged on for a while because I just turned into, I just started turtling up, which is the opposite of what you think you would need to do. It's counterintuitive because Max the Hype Nitro, woo, Mr. Speed Demon himself, is not a very fast deck. I think I went over this in the last video that I filmed. But for real, he's not a fast deck, and he can't be. He can't outrace any of the other mechanologists. And he can't out-turtle the other mechanologist. He is a setup combo deck. So if you really wanted to stretch, and this is what I was saying at the Armory tonight, if you really want to stretch the imagination and try to make it themey, you say, oh, I'm setting up into position so I can take the lead. And that's literally what he does. That's actually what Max does. He doesn't start boosting uncontrollably and gain momentum to the point where he just can't be caught. What he does is he sets up, spends a bunch of time fixing up his bike, and then eventually it's just a rocket and it just fires off, right? So I was always taking chip damage every single turn, but I was saving the Nitromechanoid for mid to late game blocking. For 8 turns, I was only returning a non-boosted Zipper Hit or a non-boosted Big Bertha or a non-boosted Big Shot. You get the point. I was only, well, I can't boost Big Shot, but you get the point. I was not speed demoning out. I was slowly working my path, finding out the best way to victory until I came across a turn where I had to arsenal a 0 to 60 because just a 0 to 60 for 3 was not, it was the yellow one, was not very great. But that's what you got to do. You got to pocket those smaller cards when you have the Nitromechanoid, because 2 turns later, I got pressured pretty hard, but I was able to go down to 2 life by just blocking with the Nitromechanoid twice. Something I couldn't have done if I was aggressively blocking with it earlier, right? Could have opened up all new opportunities for my opponent for her to really take away the whole game. But I slowed her down enough to really, really set up the turn, where the last turn I could just block with 1 card from hand. High Octane. 0 to 60 from Arsenal, the little yellow guy that I put in there a long time ago. Now they're at 19 life. She's at 19 life. Okay. And I present 3. I believe the next attack is a T-Bone to take up the Valiant Dynamo, because that's the first one they always block with at all times. Dorinthias will 100% of the time try to block with that Valiant Dynamo. Any warrior running the dual weapons will do that. That's just the game plan. As soon as that was locked up, what was it? 0 to 60, T-Bone. I just stroked out. I think it was a zipper hit or a something. I don't know what it was. Either way, they chose to block some of that damage with a card from hand. Oh no, it was another T-Bone because they had to block with the bracers. Okay. And then all of their armor's locked up. I had Meganetic, the spring tunic they were using earlier in the game, so they didn't have that as an option. And the helmet was also used during that Meganetic turn, the Balance of Justice. So all of their armor's used up, and we're on the final turn. And I have 4 action points left with a Galvanic Bender, Nitromechanoid, and I take that first game. Super exciting. I did not think I was going to win that one. I sat there for a minute. I guess she had known she had lost and extended the hand, and I was like, "You have no way of blocking this." And then I looked over and I'm like, "Oh, right, my bad. I'm a piece of shit. My bad." So was not trying to be rude, but I thought there was a way out for her at that time. But that was the first win. Close game, but it shows that Max Nitro in a meta where Axe Heavy Dory comes out, or any warrior comes out, Max Nitro can do it. You just have to be patient and methodical. I'd be much more happy. Like, I know this is such a weird complaint, but I'd be so much more happy if Max Nitro were not presented as Mr. Speedy. And if am I reading the name wrong? Am I reading the character wrong? Right? Is that not really what's happening with Max Nitro? Very confused. But if he were presented as like a jailbreaker or like a demolition specialist, is that what he's presented as? Am I like, is there like a cultural difference between the presentation of the art and the cards and the names? Is there something going on there that I don't understand? Right? Is he presented as the jailbreaker? I don't know. I don't know. But that's more how I feel like it. If I put that in my head and I say slow down, because a lot of my turns I really am just, I gotta get a new chair. First it was squeaky, now I'm fat and breaking it. He really is a very slow character, and that even proved to be true in the second game against Prism, the Awakener of Soul. Now, in that matchup, I put away Banksy, and I reached for the Teklo Plasma Pistol because I was going to be under the assumption that I was going to need to just start tapping and be able to reliably tap ward targets, auras, all that. So I bring in the pistol. Yeah, from the get-go, I just kind of take control. I'm popping things left and right and then covering up everything else and just blocking a lot and then loading the pistol and popping whatever aura they try to put down. Eventually, I block with armor to take a turn and try to take the initiative. And I do. I do take the initiative. I Pulse Wave get like a double 0 to 60 turn, and then Pulse Wave Harpoon out a Herald of Erudition they were greedily trying to hold on to. This is not their fault. They can't know that I'm going to Pulse Wave Harpoon. But they didn't block the first few attacks, so I got on a bunch of free damage against a hero with lower life. And then got the Pulse Wave Harpoon and stripped out their hand, knocked out their legs from under them. So their whole setup turn and everything is gone. From there on, I'm just methodically attacking for above rate, 5 or 6, doesn't matter which one, and then firing a pistol. And because they're at such low life to begin with, the game starts to tilt in my favor. I do eventually banish all of my Nitro Mechanoids, my Construct Nitro Mechanoids with boost. All of them get boosted away. But at this point in time, we're over halfway through the game. It's kind of a longer game, and we're kind of grindy. I'm kind of running out of options. But I know that Prism plays a lot of instants, so I start playing my blues out as opposed to my reds, and I try to save my reds for later, and I start pitching those to like the Foundry Heart and trying to save my reds for later. So I start attacking with my blues where they're attacking for 3 and 4, and it feels really bad to block those, so they're spending more cards than usual by blocking with the Phantasmal Footsteps, and I just keep leaking damage left and right. Oh, wow. I think I just pulled... Oh, what is that? Please tell me that's Levia. Oh my god, please tell me that Levia on cam. Oh, that's fine. Oh, right. Got the Marvel Nazareth. Oh, I thought it was Levia. I was so happy. I love Levia. I know she let me down RTN, but she didn't really let me down. I let her down. Let's be real. Can I get a good... Cold foils come out so dark. They absorb so much light. And I get a Ram Raider. Is there a back to this card? No, that's just it? Oh, that's weird. That is so weird that Dusk Till Dawn has this Marvel token. Not gonna complain. And into the sealable dragon shield it goes. Slowly and carefully. Well, that's really nice. That's a feels good. Today was a really good day. I learned that Max Nitro, I think largely what it was when I first got started on Max Nitro, it was just the name and the style and the art sold me on something that wasn't true. All of that sold me on, this is going to be your speed demon. This is your speedy boy. Dash is cool and has a lot of cool items she can use, but this one is just raw gas. And it just hasn't been that way. And that's fine. God, that's cool. I'm really happy about that. Oh, obviously you saw, I was very pumped that was Levia. That would have been very, very fantastic. But for Marvel Nazareth. Let's try to keep the names good. Oh my God. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so the end of that game just ended up being either I could pistol. Sorry. The last turn of the game was high octane, T-bone, which doesn't matter because all of Prism's equipment in that game had no blade break or anything, but they all had defensive values. So T-bone just basically didn't do anything that game. But it was T-bone 0 to 60, and I think a zipper hit. Yeah, this time it was a zipper hit. And then I had 2 resources floating, turn over the Foundry Heart for 3 resources. Because of High Octane, I have 3 action points. Oh no, I had 4 resources by the end of that. Because of the hyperdrivers. Okay, so I had 4 resources, and then I had the choice of just throwing out a big shot for 8 with 2 cards in their hand, or the Phantasmal Footsteps can block as well. And I chose instead to fire 1 pistol shot. And when they blocked with 1 card from hand, I then cracked the Achilles accelerators that I kept in for arcane damage. And knowing that I had already boosted off all of my nitromechanoids, I didn't need them anymore. Then it was big shot follow-up after that with the 3 remaining resources for 8. And that pretty much sealed it, because from then on, no matter what, I had a card in Arsenal still. I was going to get there. And eventually I did just get there with a pistol. There was 2 cards with no block in hand, and they pitched to block with the Phantasmal Footsteps. But the pistol was still attacking for 2. So, a very slow, very grinding game. And I like that Max can churn on and not boost, right? Max doesn't need to boost because he uses my version of the build uses all of the big hits, all of the 5s, 6s, all that kind of stuff. And because of that, I don't have to boost. I can just present above rate damage and play kind of like a brute. But what you're really doing with my version, and I should make videos for my decks. Maybe I should start doing that. For all 10 of you watching this, and maybe more in the future, who knows. Go ahead and comment below if you'd like me to go over some of the decks that I play with. So you can see a different perspective. I'm still probably going to do it anyway, but comments are nice. Letting me know what kind of builds you're going for is nice. And that was a decent video, way better than last time. We got Nazareth the Soul Harrower in cold foil. Can I boost this up maybe? Come on. That's weird. There's like a star above there, but that's really just the reflection from the the webcam's lens. Come on, focus in well. Here. Maybe if we just make this the prime camera. Very rad hit. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, as always. Comment below if you want to see any specific decks or deck techs. I do have a lot of the cards. I'm missing a lot of the new cards. But I can at least get good ideas on what to build. As always, check out the store Crash Command Games on TCG Player and now eBay. I'm getting ooh, that's a really good shot. Check out the podcast Cast a Commotion. It is my pride and joy. That's my baby. That's on Buzzsprout, Apple, whatever you do, whatever you get your podcasts, that's where you'll find mine as well. This one's zeroed.